I'm Nail, founder at Youzu. Youzu is all-in-one visual AI suite that redefines visual commerce. And we are transforming online shopping by enabling immersive and interactive experiences, making product search more intuitive and visualization effortless. And from that perspective, there is a huge product visualization problem from e-commerce perspective. It actually costs e-commerces quite dearly. There is statistics that 67% of users actually abandon their carts, and there's a huge return rate, especially in furniture retail. Here I mentioned 20-30% in general, and in furniture e-commerce it's actually even more. And content creation is also quite expensive, $39 for approximately for an image, and then up to $1,500 on average for SKU, like for unit costs of every unit cost for the item. And obviously, there is also customization and inspiration part, which we solve. And this is our visual AI suite, which I'm going to show in more detail soon. So we have the suite of room visualizer, where we can turn empty spaces into very beautiful, stylized interiors. There's Youzu Lens, imagine Google Lens or Amazon Lens, and we offer, it's our own proprietary technology that helps you find products from pictures in milliseconds. We introduced also a magic background quite recently, which auto removes and replaces backgrounds, and then there's 2D to 3D transformation of flat images into interactive 3D components. So I'm gonna show you quickly how our features look like. So we start with room visualizer. So we have the user actually uploads their pictures and select styles, and then we select specific items, and then you see product recommendation of that sofa. The next thing for us is basically Youzu Lens, where you actually can take a picture of any item. It's actually a zero-shot model that we've developed, and then we can actually find a similar or exact item of that. And it could be, like I mentioned here, specifically furniture, because it's our customer. Vibra, which is largest Romanian furniture retailer, and it's basically their catalog that you see here. But we can actually do with anything, from shoes to fashion items and etc. The next thing what we are actually doing is e-commerces can come to us and bulk their data in CSV API format, and then basically we can add some sort of background, remove the background, and make basically that product look more beautiful. And the last thing what we've been developing is actually 2D to 3D. So here you can upload your picture and then we basically automatically turn it into 3D experiences in very high quality. There is always this market is actually quite saturated, but it's quite new as well. The names that I mentioned here, Site, 3Kit, and then some others, are actually pretty big companies, but no one actually offers the same value that we do, both from basically automation perspective, pricing perspective, the value perspective. We optimized our technology in a way that basically it costs us actually quite low, even compared to, let's say, Amazon or Google. If you compare on our infrastructure, that's why we can offer actually lower prices than these competitors. In terms of where we are heading, so we actually our product is ready. If you are e-commerce, you can contact me, and then we can actually deliver these solutions for you. But at the same time, we are working on delivering a self-serve platform. We will have also 2D to 3D, we will make it also automated. It's not there yet. And then we will deliver also Shopify and Magento plugins, so that the e-commerces don't have to even come to us. They can actually do everything within their Shopify space. Where we are heading from vision perspective is that we see that there is a lot of gap like in visual recommendation. So currently, like the e-commerces, what they do is actually they do recommendations based on text and context, so history of what they search for. But since we will have like a lot of data when it comes to like visual vectorized data, we can actually bring a lot more better recommendation experience for our e-commerce customers. This is our team. Like one of our founders is here. We have experience in building AI, in building and shipping AI products. We work together at SportTotal, and we built AI broadcasting cameras in the past, and also like a bunch of other AI tools in sports industry. So we have a pretty good experience with computer vision. So that's why, like, I think like that experience actually it gave us like what we can build now, like with Youzu. We have already pricing models. Obviously, like we can discuss also like with smaller retailers who have less SKUs and they would like to customize what they would like to show to their customers, and basically we can change the pricing model based on that. But this is in general like the pricing that we came up with. We are actually like at least in the beginning at the intersection of e-commerce, furniture retail, and also interior design. And this is a huge market, like, and considering that also, like, if you consider visual search, that will grow over time, because like lens technology that we introduced, they will become more better and better, both from performance perspective, like how fast it will deliver the results, etc. Obviously, like we think that what we are going to deliver right now, it will bring incredible ROI for customers from both conversion rates, higher sales, fewer returns, etc. And also we are pretty fast in implementing that, like we can deliver that solution to you like in just 4 days. Obviously, like we are a startup, like we still need to automate that, but I think like in the future we'll be able to deliver it in even in the same day. If you consider our competitors, actually it will take them weeks to deliver that, but since we are awesome, we can do it faster. We are actually looking for some investment. It's not like we are desperate about that, but it would be nice. And but we are looking more for e-commerce customers. That I think, from our perspective, like if there are some investors who have like AI and e-commerce experience, that would be best. And ideally, it would be lead investment. Because we would like to focus on product and deliver products to customers. And here's like our details. You can check out Youzu, like our documentation. We have SDK as well for customers, so that like we delivered some UI elements, components, and you can scan the code like to get into Youzu. And here are my personal details. Thanks a lot.
Humble. We do have questions coming up here already from the audience as well.
Thank you, very nice speech. I was wondering about your lens product. For you and for the customer, it's best if you cover a wide range of shops, for example, so that they find the most accurate product. For the shops, it's beneficial if you bias it toward their own products. So there would be an imbalance of benefits. How would you basically resolve this?
So I think Lens product makes sense for e-commerces who have large catalogs. If they don't, I don't think that's very helpful. So one of our customers, which is Vibra, they have just for one market above 1.5 million SKUs. So for them it makes sense. But for example, if someone has got like less than 100K, it doesn't make sense. Obviously, like we can go into B2C in the future, like where we have huge catalogs. Then we will be an alternative to Google Lens from that perspective. And we've been actually also comparing our results, and it was actually better. They use actually more older technology. And I think there is a potential there, but I think it's a bit too early for us because like, we need to do a bunch of stuff before that.
So I'm not sure if I missed it, but the sales KPIs you showed, so the shopping cart value and the returns,
On what is that based? Have you conducted first pilots and measured that?
We are currently actually doing that. I can't I've done it like based on the research what we can actually deliver. I think it might be actually even more when it comes to room visualizer, because there is not really such a product what we have. And, in the market there are like companies who do that now, like Wayfair has done something in the US, but they just started and their experience looks terrible. And now we are launching with Vivre, like in a couple of weeks we'll have like the first results. But like for example, I made like some of these assumptions also like based on the research that I've done, because we hadn't started like in production yet.
Yeah, and I think we had one more question over here.
Yeah, I have two questions actually connected. So first question is, what's the logic and the reasoning behind your pricing model? And second question is, like, when you're talking about the customer, e-commerce customer, do you actually means like large sites like Amazon, like Wayfair, or also include like independent Shopify websites? So who's actually your target customers?
Can you elaborate a bit, like the second question?
Second question is, when you talk about the e-commerce customers, so I actually target the big sites like Amazon or Wayfair, or actually also include like independent Shopify website, etc.
Okay, I'll start with the pricing model. So how we've done this actual calculation, it's based on the unit costs that we have and added margin on top of it. That's why we introduced this pricing. But again, it might change a bit because we don't know like which features and which stuff will be more beneficial for customers from the perspective like more needed, because every customer will have different basically needs. But this is general pricing, so we will discuss it like in more details with each customer individually. When it comes to actual big e-commerces, obviously we are very much interested. So for example, the lens technology that I mentioned, Amazon has got its own lens technology. Obviously, they can use like our room visualizer. It could be also IKEA or some large enterprises as well. And obviously, we would like to get them as well, like as customers. But now, in general, even like large customers, like large e-commerces, many of them don't have these features like lens. Like IKEA doesn't have it, as far as I know. Like when I checked last time. Then Zalando doesn't have it, and there is a huge potential, and I think also like when we were checking also even with large e-commerces, what we've noticed is that they are not even capable of delivering that like from internally. They can do it maybe with external partners or someone like who can build them some of these AI solutions. So from that perspective, that is the reason why we chose actual e-commerce, because from technology and AI perspective, there's huge potential that we can deliver.
Perfect. Thank you very much to Nail from Youzu AI.
Thank you.